Do you think I should be able to ask journalists questions? Do you think I should be able to contact a journalist and say, I'm going to ask you a question on camera? ITV News have come here. They haven't watched my previous documentary. They haven't looked at any of this. So they've basically come here. They haven't investigated anything. They're going to run a headline and lie to you about why I'm in court.
Breaking today, an extraordinary confrontation between Tommy Robinson and the mainstream media outside of court as he faces trial for the harassment of two Daily Mail journalists. Now, the Mercian summed up what went on in court, writing, breaking, Tommy Robinson pleads not guilty to harassment. A judge has rejected calls from the prosecution to place a gagging order on Robinson, citing free speech. The case now goes to Crown Court, allowing him to have a jury for the first time. So that is an incredibly significant moment. But I think what was more fascinating today about what happened was the fact that Tommy Robinson, newly freed from HMP Woodhill, with more energy than I would ever have expected for someone who has just spent 7 months in solitary confinement, is going to be prepared to call out the mainstream media to their face. Remember, upon his release, he described the mainstream media as the cancer destroying Britain, but said the independent media is the cure. We got an example today of exactly how he now plans to take his fight directly to the people who for so long have skewed the information that they believe the public are allowed to receive. So we're going to get analysis from Alexandra Marshall of The Spectator Australia and Professor Norman Fenton, who was at court today, in just one moment. But first, let's see how Tommy decided to go for these guys.
Do you know what's mad? You've got all of these cameras, yeah? This is the mainstream media. How many of these people reported on the rape gangs across the UK? None of them. And every one of them knew about it. Every one of them knew about it.
Let's get over to this court.
And Tommy then specifically pointed out how the Daily Mail, which is of course the reason behind this case, is now boasting about their reporting, which he has so many issues with.
Mail Online, yeah? This is from the Press Awards. I wish I had this for my documentary that went out last night, yeah? Tommy Robinson on holiday. Our photograph of Tommy Robinson.
The press are now running towards
our photograph of Tommy Robinson stoking the. No, don't stop him. Don't. Our photograph of Tommy Robinson stoking the flames of the post-Southport race riots from the safety of a Cypriot sunbed became one of the defining images of this summer's disorder. They're celebrating that Axel Rudy Cabana was not the defining image of the summer's disorder. A picture of me on my sunbed. I had nothing to do with it. Okay, I had absolutely nothing to do with it. Just leave it, lads. I had absolutely nothing to do with it. So it's frustrating, but they come, they lied, they tracked down where I was, they gave the location of my family, they endangered my family, and what they don't want is the camera being turned on them. So I decided I'm going to turn the camera on them. That's what I decided. Tell them to leave it. Yeah. Leave it, lads. Just leave it. Yeah, so leave it, lads. So I decided to turn the camera on them, which is what I've done. I didn't threaten violence. I said I'm going to ask you questions on camera. And for that, in 2025, Great Britain, turning the camera and saying to journalists, I'm going to come and find you now, and when I find you, I'm going to ask you questions. But I made it clear, when I do find you, I'm not going to show images of your family, I'm not going to show where you live, yeah, because that's morally bankrupt.
And then, outside court, Tommy made good on his promise by directly challenging a reporter who was at court for Woke ITV. Watch the extraordinary confrontation.
If you was a journalist, you'd have watched my film, you'd have understand why I'm in court today. You don't even know why I'm in court. So what are you doing here?
Well, when it all comes out, it'll come out in court.
Well, no, what will come out is your headline. That's the problem. What comes out is your headline. Okay? And your headline, your headline is based on no investigation. You've just said that. Okay, these men tracked down my family. They photographed innocent members of my family and put them in danger. I then said to them, do you think I should be able to ask journalists questions? Do you think I should be able to contact a journalist and say, I'm going to ask you a question on camera? Do you think?
Well, I think that everyone has an opinion.
Okay, so do you think I should be able to contact a journalist? Say you're a journalist now, yeah? So I know who you are now. Yeah. Should I be able to send you a message saying I'm going to come with my camera and ask you questions like you've done to me?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know? No. You meant to be do you believe in free speech and free press?
I do.
So you believe in free press?
Yeah.
So I'll ask you again, do you think I should be able to contact a journalist and tell him I want to ask him a question on camera?
I think you need to perhaps put it through to ITV, the news desk.
So I need to put it through to ITV on the news desk. Did the Daily Mail put it through to me when they secretly, covertly recorded my daughter, my ex-wife, and they put pictures of her in a national newspaper endangering her? Is that right? Do you think that's right what the Daily Mail did?
No.
So, okay, so you don't think that's right what the Daily Mail did? I'm facing 10 years in jail for saying I want to ask them a question on camera. Do you think that's right? Do you think we've maybe got a biased justice and judiciary? How am I even in court today? They endangered my family. How are you, honestly, you seem like a nice bloke. How are you been sent here and you haven't even looked into this? Because you're going to now just run a headline, and your headline is total lies. So what you're doing is you're feeding propaganda to the public from the establishment that lies about me as a journalist. But do you know why? Because you're controllable, yeah? I get it. You're worried about losing your job. I'm not. So they can't control me. So I'll turn the camera on you, people like you, and say they're lying. This is how they're lying, right? And that's what I do. And because they don't like that, I get tied up through these courts. Lawfare after lawfare after lawfare. I've done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong.
He continued to take on the mainstream media. This is what went down with ITV.
So ITV News have come here. They haven't watched my previous documentary. They haven't looked at any of this. So they've basically come here. They haven't investigated anything. They're going to run a headline and lie to you about why I'm in court. Okay? That is the importance of this channel. It's the importance of citizen journalism. It's the importance of every one of you to share the content. Because these guys come to lie to you, and they've been able to do it for a decade. And then when big media when big tech stepped in and censored everyone, they could continue those lies, right? Due to you, the public, sharing content and supporting citizen journalism. There's lots of citizen journalists here today, and that pisses these lot off, right? Because our views are going to far exceed their views. So whereas they used to control the media and they'd lie to everyone, that doesn't wash anymore. Follow me on X, @T.Robinson New Era, and you're already following this channel. Make sure you share it, yeah?
Big up, Tommy.
Good
Let
to
me
see
get
you.
And there was more, because he hadn't finished taking on the mainstream journalists.
Excuse me. Where are you from? Where are you from, lads? Where are you from? Where are you from? Which journalist are you from?
I'm from the agencies.
Agencies.
Yeah.
Which media are you? What media are you? Freelance. No, look, can I ask her? Can I ask her? How are you, man? I'll talk to you, bro. Yeah, I'll talk to the citizen journalists because they're the real journalists. You guys have already got your media, your news headlines wrote already, isn't it? It's right already. Who are you from? Who are you from? Reuters. Yeah, look, can I ask you? Can I ask you to leave it? Right? Can I ask you? Excuse me. Reuters News. Excuse me. Reuters News. Leave them. Yeah, leave them. I don't want anyone there. Just leave it. Nothing. Just leave it. It's all right. Leave it. It's all right. Leave it. Just leave it.
Tommy,
Leave it.
may I ask, what were the conditions like in prison?
What were the conditions like in prison? Well, Axel Rudakabana's not on solitary confinement. Salman Abedi's brother was not on solitary confinement. Islamic gangs are controlling every single prison in this country. And officers are coming under a violent attack. The ones you're reading a little snippet, every day they're getting attacked.
Now, the absolutely extraordinary thing is all of that happened before Tommy Robinson had even entered the court. So what went down inside? Well, Maya Tusi reported huge win for Tommy Robinson in court as the judge defended his free speech and disagreed with the prosecution on their condition to ban Tommy from speaking out. We now go to Southwark Crown Court with an actual jury for the first time. And we actually got some good independent reporting, actually, because you cannot trust, let me tell you cannot trust what the mainstream media have to say anytime Tommy Robinson is in court. But we got some good independent reaction to the consequences of that decision. Watch. But first, some struggle to fall asleep, others to stay asleep, and many wake in the night with racing thoughts. I have to be honest, that's often me. And don't you end up tossing and turning for hours? But I then found out that saffron is more than just a spice. It's shown in multiple human studies to help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and this is the best thing, wake up refreshed without that next day grogginess. It works by boosting natural melatonin without dependency or morning fog, calming the nervous system, helping your mind unwind, improving mood and stress resilience so you wake up feeling better. Now, most saffron supplements don't work because they contain cheap, unstandardized saffron cut with fillers or low potency extracts, delivering weak, inconsistent doses. This led me to Evening Being by Verso, a melatonin-free drink mix perfected over 3 years with a clinically studied, trademarked saffron, standardized and concentrated to only the active ingredients. Those ingredients proven to enhance sleep, mood, and relaxation. It's the most researched bioavailable saffron extract available. It's paired with other clinically studied patented ingredients to promote relaxation and deep, uninterrupted sleep. After taking Evening Bean, I fall asleep faster and stay asleep all night. So click the link in the show description or head on over to evening.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code outspoken at checkout to save 15% on your first order. Try Evening Bean tonight and wake up feeling refreshed tomorrow. That's evening.ver.so/outspoken and use the coupon code outspoken at checkout for 15% off. But now, back to the show.
Buy me a coffee. Links are in the chat. Please do support what we do. Honestly, let's can we get it up to, I don't know, 300 quid a month? That would be wonderful. We're going to get some reactions now. We had Tommy Robinson talking about the jury possibly being rigged, and now we're going to ask this man what he thinks.
How'd it go?
Oh, come on, you've got a beautiful face. You should be on camera. Go on.
Well, I
okay.
was inside the trial, sitting in the front row, and the judge was very fair. Now, the Crown Prosecution Service tried to slip in the third condition of bailment, a very sneaky provision which would have effectively barred anyone, whether it's Tommy or not, from discussing the trial. Now, that was very sneaky because it effectively curtailed free speech, and the judge took the Crown Prosecution Service to task hard, saying effectively it would end free speech in the UK. Now, the Crown Prosecution Service, Mr. Holt, kind of quivered and made a bunch of hubbub about it, but eventually yielded to the judge because it was just so tyrannical. Now, the three conditions of Tommy's release are, number one, he's not allowed to contact any of the witnesses. Number two, he's not allowed to dox any of the witnesses. And then number three, he's not allowed to release any specific information that would prejudice the trial that's upcoming, apart from discussing who the attorneys are, who the judge is, and the dates, which was very fair and normal. All in all, when I spoke to Tommy, he said he was relieved and optimistic. His next appearance will be 3 July for a pretrial hearing with a jury trial expected on 7 July 2025.
Nice, well done.
What did you ask him?
So brilliant independent reporting there from Resistance GB, but the drama hadn't finished because Tommy Robinson and some of his supporters, including Liam Tufts, went for a steak after the court decision, which you'd think in a free country would be no issue. They went to a popular steakhouse chain in central London called Hawksmoor. And Gurmit Singh posted immediately after the lunch, just been kicked out of Hawksmoor Steakhouse for no reason, literally just had our starters, and there was video of this actually happening. Watch.
What's that?
The members of staff are uncomfortable servants.
Yeah. Is it because of the colour of my skin?
No. We have a duty.
Is it because of the colour of my skin?
To our members of staff. We like to look after our people, as I'm sure you can understand. Our CEO Will said if you've got any questions about that, you're more than welcome to email him directly. His email address there. Don't worry about this first round of drinks. It's on me, but I'm very sorry. I hope it's not inconvenient.
Hold on. Get another one. We've been kicked out of the steakhouse. Have you seen that? We've just been kicked out of the steakhouse. We've been sat here for a fucking hour. This is Liam Tuss fucking fault. We're sat here with the celebrities. Fuck's sake. Fucking hell. They're uncomfortable serving us.
Good God. Shame on you, Hawksmoor. Shame on you. This is the state that we are now in. in the United Kingdom where a completely innocent man who has not been found guilty of a single thing is unable to go for a quiet lunch with his mate. And it's this type of snowflake culture, anti-free speech culture, which absolutely makes me sick. So look, we've got so much to pick up on here with our superstar panel. Alexandra Marshall, online editor of The Spectator Australia, and Professor Norman Fenton, author of Fighting Goliath. Norman was at the court today. So Norman, first, can we just talk about that extraordinary interaction between Tommy Robinson and the independent journalist and the mainstream media? It was quite a face-off. What was it like?
Yeah, I mean, Tommy was brilliant. He was in, great fighting mood. And the key point, it's always been really about free speech and the fact that censorship by the mainstream media of his voice, his narrative, has created the environment whereby you get those ridiculous idiots who own Hawksmoor, stopping him from having a meal there. The interview, the interesting thing, there's a couple of really interesting things which maybe need to be emphasized here. That American guy who just showed being interviewed by the Resistance UK independent media, he gave a very, very good actually summary of what the judge said about the attempts by the Crown Prosecution Service to limit Tommy Robinson's free speech about this case. The key thing is, you said at the beginning, and they were talking about it being, he didn't allow the gagging, or basically it was about a gagging order against Tommy Robinson from speaking about the case, right? But it was much more than that. The state, the Crown Prosecution Service, actually wanted to make it illegal to be contempt of court for even third parties to talk about the case on social media, i.e., if they did, even if they had nothing to do with Tommy Robinson, he would have been held in contempt of court. And the really critical thing about this, and it's another thing that most people don't understand about the previous case, why he was in prison over the release of the documentary Silenced, is that originally he was charged with contempt of court, not because he showed that film at that big rally last July, but because it had already been released by a third party over whom he had no control in the USA. So on the basis of it being released by a third party against Tommy's wishes, he was issued with the warrant for arrest in regard to the contempt of court case. It was only after that that he decided, well, he's going to be imprisoned anyway. He might as well show it to everybody, to the 100,000 people who were in Trafalgar Square for that rally. So that's an important point, which very few people understand. So they were trying to do the same thing here.
And it is a very important point. I absolutely agree. Alexandra Marshall, what do you make of Tommy Robinson saying, look, I'm just going to start exposing the mainstream media here? I mean, he describes them as a cancer on the United Kingdom and says that the independent media is the cure. What do you think of his strategy today?
Well, I've actually had the privilege of interviewing Tommy Robinson several times on my show. Not for the faint-hearted live, let's say that. He has an attraction toward all things dangerous legally. But what he does is he speaks the sort of truth that publications and politicians are absolutely terrified. So even though The Spectator is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, publication in the English-speaking world, we're very fond of citizen journalism and online media. In fact, I believe it is probably the most important revolution in truth and journalism that we've had in a century. And it's in the true spirit of journalism. And so without social media's independent journalism, Tommy Robinson and his story and what he tried to say would have been dead and buried long ago, because the politicians would have put pressure on the publications to hide everything that he had to say about modern politics. Instead, he's able to do things like release his documentaries, of which I watched his latest one just before this show. And frankly, I am astonished. I'm astonished that that story is not on every mainstream newspaper in Australia right now, and yet the name Tommy Robinson isn't trending anywhere except on social media, where people are allowed to speak and citizen journalists exist. And it just shows you this enormous divide between what people want to say and what people are allowed to say. Now, Tommy Robinson, I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say with what your conditions of the conditions of his court are, but basically he was saying something very fair and trying to get journalists to understand the position that he has been put in, and it's just a fraction of the life that he leads because of his decision to be an actual journalist instead of a pretend news headline writer and clickbait follower, which is what pretty much outfits like the Daily Mail have become.
100%. Absolutely. But you are so right, Alexandra Marshall, to point out the limitations that we all face. Because what this terrible government and its despicable, corrupt justice system has proven is that they will now go after journalists for contempt of court. They will hide behind contempt of court to shut down independent journalists. And by the way, if you cross their line, and it's a line that shifts all the time depending on where from the political spectrum you are, you could end up in jail. You could end up in solitary confinement for 7 months like Tommy Robinson. So we do have to be honest that there is no free speech in this country. It isn't like the United States of America where we can talk about an active court case. And that's why Tommy Robinson is completely right today to use the name Axel Rudikabana when he's talking about this, because I'm sorry, Norman Fenton, we still don't know the truth about Axel Rudikabana. We still don't know the full truth. It was me via Tommy Robinson that revealed that Axel Rudikabana is a Muslim. He is a practicing Muslim behind bars at Belmarsh prison. Anytime I watch the mainstream media, the fake news agents the other day were saying, well, the thing is, Axel Rudikabana wasn't a Muslim. That was fake news. So it's like there are so many facets to this lawfare against Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, that whole Axel Rudikabana case, I mean, that was so completely bizarre, the way he suddenly pleaded guilty. So they didn't, so we, you know, the public never got the trial to find out what it was really all about. It was a very convenient way for the government to completely cover up that story. I mean, now going back to this whole thing about not just the censorship of Tommy Robinson's voice, but the demonization of anybody who is in any way associated with him. I mean, I'm proud to say that I'm the only academic in the UK, let alone professor in the UK, who's actually supported Tommy because of his because of his activism.
Yes, Norman Fenton, I love it.
I'm of course I was already cancelled because of my work on on the
COVID.
My work challenging the COVID narrative.
And that's before we even get to Lucy Letby. So you're cancelled
Yeah,
multiple
That's
times.
how I met the lovely Norman. We were all cancelled.
Yeah, so we're all cancelled. We've got nothing more to lose, right? But I want to tell you something. And really, I've actually, as we've been speaking, you've been giving some latest news. I haven't been speaking, but my mate Harry Markham, who you interviewed last week in this office, because you'll probably recognise it, he sent me an incredible piece of information. Right at the trial with me today, I was with Nayat Ghourbani, the well-known Iranian dissident, who's also got massive lawfare against him because he simply stood up to the Hamas terrorists, and Emily Schrader, a well-known Israeli-American journalist who's come over here for a week. So we were together, and after Tommy came out, Emily wanted to have a photo taken with Tommy, and she put that photo up on her social media page. There are now, I'm not going to mention the name of the people, but there are now senior academics who claim to be advocates of free speech and all this sort of stuff, who are demanding that Emily Schrader should now be cancelled because she was photographed with Tommy Robinson.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.